Okay, we'll start the lesson. So there are 46 participants. We'll start the lecture now. Right, so what we are discussing about literature review, right? Literature review. What are the things we have identified under the literature review? Yes? Last week, what we discussed about under the literature review? Yes?
Validity and reliability of literature.
Okay, validity and reliability of literature review we discussed. And then we identify how the literature review is important to the other chapters, especially introduction, methodology, and the discussion chapter, how the literature review will impact for these three chapters. So what is the importance of the literature review? Why we are doing a literature review for our study? So what is the importance? Right. The next one, the functions of the critical literature, how we can start the literature review, what are the steps in the literature review. So then how we can find the articles for our literature review, what are the sources for the literature review, how you can download the relevant research articles, conference proceeding, and etc. For that one, what are the sources? So then how you can identify whether your journal is an accepted one or is not. Meanwhile, how you can identify whether your research journal or is referencing journal is predatory one or is no with the predatory journal list. Yes. So I asked to download a similar paper to your study. So then we check the reliability and the validity. Under the validity, we are identifying it as the external and the internal validity. And then how we can check the reliability. Right. So I hope this is the part we need to start today. How the literature review is important to the conceptual framework and hypothesis. Right. Okay, we'll discuss. What do you mean by a conceptual framework? Conceptual framework. What do you mean by a conceptual framework? Concept in the sense, what is a concept? Example for the concepts. Yes, what are the concepts? No idea regarding concept. Accounting, we have studied about the accounting concepts. What those are? Business entity concepts, the going concern concepts, likewise. So those are the sum of concepts that we can refer in the accounting terms, accounting concepts. Here, conceptual framework, right? So if we are doing a quantitative research, so definitely you have the conceptual framework. If you are referring the qualitative research, you may have the analytical framework. But even it may be same names, conceptual framework and the analytical framework, right? So what do you mean by this conceptual framework? It illustrates the relationship between two variables. Definitely, you identified independent and the dependent variables. Sometimes if you have the other variables, control variables and other things, control variables and the moderating, mediating variables. So the relationship between these each variables will be reflected through the conceptual framework as a graphical manner. right? That means relationship between your variables. If you have the independent variable, how it is impacting for the dependent variable. If you are having the mediated variable, where do we need to replace the mediator variable in between this independent dependent variable, right? All of these things will be graphically shown to the users of this research will be identified under the conceptual framework. What we are going to do will be graphically shown to our readers. Conceptual framework. What we are going to do will be analyzed with the variables. Definitely you are going to search about the variables, right? By reading your research, by reading the literature review, by reading the similar papers, definitely you will be identifying what are the variables in my research. For the moment, you know the what dependent variable and the independent variable, right? So other than that one, sometime you may have the other variables also. How you can identify these other variables? By doing the literature review. While you are reading the similar papers to your research area, definitely you will be able to identify exactly what is my variable, what is my dependent variable, so what is my independent variable. So am I going to use the control variables? Are the by how we can identify those things? By referring the others findings, by referring the others research. So then once you are able to identify these variables, you need to graphically show how these dependent variable be impacted by the other independent variable. It's like this. Here the independent variable. Normally we are replacing the independent variable in the right hand side, sorry, left hand side. Independent variable, and then how it is impacting for the dependent variable. This is my independent variable, this is my dependent variable. Again, if you have the control variables, right? If you have the control variables, so these are my control variables. Control variables. Control variables will be shown after the dependent variable, right? Below the dependent variable, you need to show the conceptual framework, control variables, like this. So what is this? This is your conceptual framework. In my study, this is my dependent variable. So this is my independent variable. So definitely my independent variable is creating an impact to the dependent variable. So that is reflected through this arrow. Then so for this study, I have taken the control variables also. Therefore, my dependent variable is subject to some control variables also. I have placed that one below the dependent variable. So this is what? So this is a graphical illustration for your study, whereas we are calling it as a conceptual framework. Conceptual framework. Don't worry. We'll discuss how to develop the conceptual framework according to your variable wise in the conceptualization and operationalization lesson. So after the literature review lecture, right? Anyway, to just have an idea regarding the conceptual framework. So conceptual framework in the sense you are going to show your readers or else the you are going to show what you are going to do within your research as a graphical manner, right? So this is the graphical illustration about your study, right? So then next one is the hypothesis, right? The hypothesis. What do you mean by a hypothesis? Yes, hypothesis. Hypothesis is a testable statement. If you remember, when we are discussing about the first lesson, we already identified the two approaches, deductive and the inductive approach. What do you mean by the deductive approach? You are going to start with the You are going to start with the problem, and then you are developing the hypothesis. Based on the hypothesis, you are going to identify the way of collecting data, and then collected the data. So then analyze the data and then come up with the interpretation, right? So that is the deductive process, deductive approach. Where the inductive approach, in the sense, you observe some specific pattern. So then you have some specific observation. Based on the observation, you identify some specific pattern, and then by identifying this pattern, you may come up with some conclusion. So whereas we are identifying that process is as a inductive process, inductive and deductive approach. Especially if you are referring the deductive process. Definitely, to conduct your research, you need, as the second step, you need to develop the hypothesis. Hypothesis in the sense, a testable statement, right? Testable in the sense, within the research, within the analysis, you are going to test whether there is a relationship between these two variables, or is more than two variables. So that will be reflected to the hypothesis, right? How we can develop this hypothesis? I hope you all have the idea regarding hypothesis when you are doing the statistics subject, right? In the statistics subject, the fourth lesson is hypothesis testing. How you can how you can develop the hypothesis? Tell me, in the statistics, how did you develop the hypothesis? Yes, you may be given some scenario, right? And then you will be given the data set also, right? Based on the data, based on the given numerical data, you are developing your hypothesis, right? And then, so it's like this. I can't exactly remember the statistical hypothesis examples, right? Uh, there we are not normally developing it as there is. Anyway, there are two hypotheses in the statistics format also, H0 and the H1, the alternative and the null hypothesis, right? So then, in the statistical context, we are developing the hypothesis based on the given data set, right? Based on the given data set, you are going to identify whether the mean is whether the mean is formulated in between these and the other things. So in that sense, you are taking the greater than, similar, and the less than, greater than, no, similar, likewise the numerical calculations in there. But in the research format, so how we can develop the hypothesis based on our literature, right? Hypothesis in the sense testable statement, how we can identify this testable statement. So especially with the hypothesis, that means another concept, another two concepts, conceptual framework and the hypothesis is derived through the literature review, right? How you can develop this hypothesis and the conceptual framework based on the literature review. So you have how many steps? You have four steps, right? First one is you need to choose your research objectives. Already you have, I hope you did that question, you did that portfolio. You already identified what are the research objectives in your research, right? So then once you select your research objective, you need to clearly identify while you are reading this literature review, while you are reading this similar paper, so what may be my independent variables and what are the dependent variable, right? So what is the dependent variable and what is the independent variable of my study? Third step is you need to identify is there any relationship between this dependent and independent variable? Right? Is there any relationship between independent and dependent variable as I show in the graphical manner as a previous conceptual framework, right? So other than that one, if you have identified, okay, so this is my independent variable, this is my dependent variable, you need to identify, are there any variable type influencing my research area or as research objective? So whereas we are identifying those things as the other influencing variables, such as examples, control variables and the moderating variable, mediating variable, and likewise. So what kind of scenarios we are taking the control variables? If there are lot of variables impacting for the dependent variable to control the impacted to control the impact which is created by the unidentified factors other than the unidentified factors other than the independent variable, right? So control variable, definitely you will be able to identify whether it is a control variable, whether it is a dependent variable, whether it is independent variable by reading the similar articles, right? So that is the process how you can develop the conceptual framework. Next one is identifying the hypothesis. Identifying the hypothesis in the sense, normally in the research context, we are developing the hypothesis starting with there is a relationship between X and Y, right? That is the alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis, there is no relationship between X and Y. Okay, I will show it. Okay, we'll take the example from the literature review article. Okay, can you see the screen here? H1, H2, H3 and H4, H5. Can you see all those things? Am I muted? No, no.
Yes, Miss, we can see.
Yes, madam can see. Okay. Okay, what is H1? Companies with higher level of stakeholder commitment are more likely to have their SR assurance by the third party, right? If you are starting with H1 and H5, so you can see here all of the hypotheses have been written down in a same manner, right? Same manner should be there. So we'll take it like this as a simplified manner. So the research topic is effect of social, environmental and organizational factors on the sustainable report assurance. By looking at this research topic, tell me what may be the independent variable and what may be the dependent variable. Yes. What may be the dependent, what may be the independent variable? So there are three independent variables. So what those are? Social, environmental, and the institutional factors on the sustainable reporting assurance. So that means these three factors become the independent variable on which one? On the sustainable report assurance, whereas it is the dependent variable, independent and dependent variable. So how you can develop the hypothesis? Yes, how you can develop the hypothesis? There is a relationship between social and the other one sustainable report assurance. Sustainable report assurance. The second one, this is H1. We'll take HA1. This is alternative hypothesis. What may be the null hypothesis? It is HA0 equals, there is no relationship between there is no relationship between social and the sustainability reporting assurance. So this is regarding the first variable. What is first independent variable? Social. The second independent variable, it's regarding the environmental. Right? Environmental. How you can develop this environmental practice, environmental, and how you can develop the environmental hypothesis. It should be HB, HB1, and here HB0. There is a relationship between now the environmental and the sustainability reporting assurance, whereas the other one, it the null hypothesis, there is no relationship between environmental and the sustainability reporting assurance, right? Likewise, you can develop the third hypothesis by linking the institutional factors and the sustainable reporting assurance, right? Okay, so we'll identify how you can link the literature review with this hypothesis. Right. If we are developing this hypothesis, what is the first hypothesis regarding the social? It is showing that we are going to test, is there any relationship between social and the sustainable report assurance? So this is what we are going to test. Sometime it may be our research objective also, right? To identify the relationship between social and sustainable report assurance. When we are identifying, when we are developing this hypothesis, you should identify this hypothesis based on the previous findings. In the statistical format, in the statistics subject, when you are developing the hypothesis, definitely you will be given some data set. But when we are developing the research hypothesis, do we have a data set? No, we don't have the data set. So, when we are developing it, we should have a base for the hypothesis. Who provide the base is the literature review, right? Before moving to this identification of hypothesis, or else before moving to the development of hypothesis, you need to identify what are the research who identifies the relationship between social and sustainable report assurance. If you will be able to identify the similar articles, similar research findings, which confirm the relationship between social and sustainable reporting assurance, only then you will be able to develop the hypothesis. Otherwise, you can't develop the hypothesis. Why? You don't have a base. Hypothesis should be based by the literature review, should be backed by the literature review. So you are not able to develop this kind of a hypothesis if you don't have the findings, similar findings done by the previous researchers. In the environmental concept, again, you are going to show, or else you are going to identify the relationship between environmental and the sustainable reporting assurance. Right? So this is the thing that you are going to test in your analysis, or else this is the objective to identify the relationship between environmental and sustainable reporting assurance. Right? How you can develop this hypothesis? Can you develop this hypothesis according to your own perception? No, you can't do it. Definitely, you should have the similar findings on the same research variables in environmental and the sustainable reporting assurance. Otherwise, you can't develop the hypothesis. That means previous researchers should confirm whether there is a relationship between environmental and sustainable reporting assurance. Accordingly, we also are going to test whether there is a relationship between environmental and the sustainable reporting assurance in our research. So that is what we are developing. That is how we are identifying the Link between literature and the hypothesis. So what is the link? Definitely to develop the hypothesis or else to develop the conceptual framework, you need to first identify the clearly the your variables, dependent and independent variables. Meanwhile, you maybe identify some other variables also. When you identify this variable, you will be able to develop the conceptual framework very clearly, no issue, no doubts. But when you are developing your hypothesis, the previous articles, previous research findings should show the same findings. Otherwise, you are not able to develop this kind of a hypothesis. If you are going to develop the hypothesis based on the relationship between social and sustainability or else X and Y, there should be a similar findings which is done by the previous researchers on the variable X and Y. Otherwise, you can't develop the hypothesis. ඒ කියන්නේ දරුවනේ මෙතන social ඔයාලා variables දෙකකින් variables හඳුන ගන්නවා research එකේ. ඉතින් රිසර්ච් එකේදී variables හඳුනගෙන ටෙස්ට් කරන්න යන්නේ මොකක්ද එක්කද hypothesis එකත් එක්ක. එතකොට මේ hypothesis එක develop කරනකොට ඔයාලට හිතන විදිහට hypothesis develop කරන්න බෑ. develop කරනකොට ඔයාට තියෙන්න ඕන literature review. කලින් අය මෙන්න මේ විදිහට research එක කරලා the relationship between X and Y is confirmed by them. ඒගොල්ලෝ රිලේෂන්ෂිප් එක ටෙස්ට් කරලා ඒගොල්ලෝ රිලේෂන්ෂිප් එකක් හඳුනගෙන තියෙනවා. හරි. එහෙනම් ඒ බේස් එකෙන් තමයි මමත් මගේ රිසර්ච් එකේ variables එහෙම නැත්නම් variables හඳුනගෙන hypothesis එක create කරන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ back කරනවා අපිට හැමතිස්සෙම hypothesis කවුද back කරන්නේ? back කරන්න ගන්න අපි literature review එක. Therefore, based on the literature review, you need to develop the hypothesis. Right? I will show how you can identify the hypothesis development one by one when it's come to the empirical literature review. All right. So this is the relationship between conceptual framework and the hypothesis. So what is the relationship? Always to develop the hypothesis plus the conceptual framework, you should have a thorough literature review. You should have a thorough findings from the previous articles on the same research area. Otherwise, you can't develop the conceptual framework plus the hypothesis. Is it clear? Any question from this area? Okay. Plagiarism. Plagiarism. Definitely you know plagiarism. What do you mean by the plagiarism? Yes. You are always avoiding the plagiarism by
What
using
Italia
several.
is we are
Yeah.
taking someone else's creative work without their permission.
Exactly. Without their permission, you are going to extract their other findings and you are going to show this, show that kind of findings so as your own one. What is it? Plagiarism. So we are not going to show, okay, so these are the findings from the previous researchers and meanwhile we are showing, okay, these are my findings and likewise you are going to extract the others findings, others ideas as your own one. Right, okay, give me 1 minute. Okay. In the academic writing, plagiarism is a serious error, right? Or serious fraud that already in the research also we are identify. We are not allowing you to do the we are not allowing you to plagiarize the others' work. Instead of that one, we are identifying a technique called as the referencing, right? Referencing. So that is how you can accommodate the others' findings, and then you can include your thoughts also in the referencing, right? Anyway, what is the software that we are using to detect the plagiarism? Yes. What is software that we are using to detect the plagiarism? Anyone? Yes? You may heard that one.
Is it Quillbot?
Yes, Quillbot also sometime detecting the plagiarism. I mean the official software that we are using to detect your plagiarism or else to check you are plagiarized or else not. Please turn it in, right? If you want, you can search also. If you want, you can buy that one also. It's not a huge price. It's a fairly price. You can have the copied version also. It's a Turnitin. Right. Okay. I will try to show the Turnitin report to you. Yes. Turnitin report. Turnitin report. Okay, my personal box. Unfortunately, I can't find the download report. Anyway, so then I will show it after the break, definitely. The thing is, if you plagiarize, so in your research report also, I'm first checking your plagiarism, right? First thing I'm going to check is plagiarized report. I'm taking your plagiarism report, and so then I will go into your research proposal evaluation before moving to the external, before sending your proposals to the external party. So therefore, you need to concern on your plagiarism as well. When you copy and paste your others' findings, you need to concern on those things also, right? Okay, let's move to the lecture again. Right, plagiarism. How you can avoid the plagiarism with the referencing, right? So how many referencing styles you have? Yes, what are the referencing styles that you know? Basically, Harvard and APA, right? Harvard, APA. So there are some referencing styles. Chicago, MPL, or else MLP or else MPL. Likewise, we have a lot of referencing styles. If you want, you can go to the Word document. So here you can identify the referencing. Lot of reference. This is the referencing icon. So then under the referencing styles, I hope can you all see my screen? No. If you want, you can search here under the reference tab, Word document. So these are the sum of styles, APA, Chicago, B774, and then the Harvard likewise, right? So out of basic two referencing styles are Harvard and APA, right? Harvard and APA. What is the referencing style for SAP Campus? What is the referencing styles that we use for your dissertation? Yes. Is it Harvard or APA? For the assignment writing, what you have taken? Is it Harvard or APA?
Harvard.
Yes. Harvard.
APA.
APA. You have taken the APA for business finance assignment. Exemption batch students. Is that? No.
Yes.
Yes. Probably APA come up with the government university lecturers. Right. Okay. What do you mean by referencing? We have referencing, lot of referencing styles. What do you mean by referencing? Yes, we are going to acknowledge the sources you have used in your writing. That means you are going to, when you are writing the others' findings, you show those things. Okay, so these are the sum of findings done by these kind of researchers. So this is the findings done by Nimesh. Right, when I'm doing my research, right? So it is regarding the corporate governance and financial performance. But in the 2022, Nimesh done the same research and the area is little bit different. So then when I am writing my literature review, I am showing that, okay, so these are the findings done by according to the Nimesh perspective on the same research topic. And I am acknowledging, okay, so these are the findings done identified in the Nimesh research. What is it? We are calling it as a referencing. We are acknowledging the sources that you have used in your writing, right? So then we have, when we are identifying the citations, when we are identifying the references, we have identifying, or else we need to basically identify two components. First one is in-text citation and other one is bibliography or as reference list. What do you mean by the in-text citation? Yes, in-text citation. You already done the assignment writing and other things with the reports. No? What do you mean by the in-text citation? In-text citation? Yes? No idea.
Brief form of the reference.
Sorry?
Form of the reference when you are using.
Sorry? Draw. I can't hear it
Brief.
properly. Brief.
Yeah.
Okay. So where we are replacing the in-text citation? Okay, good. Briefly showing us, okay, so this is the researcher and the year of the publication. Very good. Briefing. Good. What else? Where we are replacing this in-text citation? Okay. So I hope you can see the screen research article, same research article. What is this? In the introduction chapter, right? The blue color phrase. What is this? This is called as the in-text citation, right? That means who are the authors and the publication year. In this one, Degens at all. We are pronouncing it as at all, right? Likewise, so this is identified as the in-text citation, briefing, right? When we are writing it, when we are writing the paragraph, we are including the in-text citation. It may be author prominent or else the information prominent. So here it is author prominent or else information prominent, right? Referencing, where we can use the referencing. Referencing will be or else the bibliography will be included at the end of the paragraph or else at the end of the summary, at the end of the document, we are taking the referencing list. This is the reference or else we are calling it as a bibliography. That means expanded version of the in-text citation. In the in-text citation, we are only referring or else we are acknowledging, okay, this is the author and this is the respective author done this research in 2020. That means year of publication. But when it's come to the referencing, we are including detail regarding this publication. Who is the author? Who published it? And are there any other authors? Published year? And then what is the journal? What is the volume? And what is the issue? And what pages? And last week we identified the DOI also. What is the DOI? And likewise, all the things will be detailed included in the references, whereas in the in-text citation, we just include the author and the year of publications. Okay, we'll identify how you can write the when you are writing the literature review, how you can include the in-text citation with the author prominent as well as the information prominent versions, right? If it is a author prominent, how you can start it? Okay, we'll identify this research, corporate governance. See if I come up with the same research topic. No? This is the research topic. Now I am at the literature review or else whatever the chapter. How you can start with the author or else we are calling it as a author prominent citation. In-text citation in the sense, this part. We already identified, okay, these are the sum of findings. You can't include those things as according to your view, according to your one. So you have to reverse it. You have to make the other adjustment, and so you have to cite it. So how this is called as the, we'll take it as a, we have extracted this information from Isuri research article done by Isuri 2022, right? So this is called as what? In-text citation. This is in-text citation. In-text citation. Once you include the author and the year, you can keep the full stop, right? Otherwise, you can't keep the full stop like this. If it is so, this is wrong, right? So you have to open the bracket and include the name of the author and the year and the keep full stop. So this term is identified as the in-text citation. In-text citation. When you are writing your proposal, you need to justify all the paragraph. You can't keep like this. You can't keep like this because this is not the academic writing. So this is academic writing. You need to justify all the paragraph. And meanwhile, you need to write all the proposal content as the paragraph wise, not the bullet point. That means you need to highly refer the academic writing in the research proposal, right? So this is the in-text citation. Anyway, we are identifying this in-text citation as a author or else information prominent. Yes, this is information prominent. We first include all the details regarding what we are going to show, and then we include the who is the author of this research and with the publication year. So therefore, we are calling it as a information prominent. Information prominent. The other one, if we are including the summary, the others research finding like this, Isuri, within the brackets, 2022. She conducted the research with the aim of, to extend the existing knowledge and likewise the same information written down with highlighting the author, right? So this is the in-text citation. This is the in-text citation history within the brackets, comma, within the bracket 2022, close the bracket, then comma, right? So this is called as the author prominent. Author prominent, right? Author prominent and the information prominent. So these are the two ways of in-text citation, information and the author prominent, right? I hope it's clear to you. In-text citation, this is the brief version of the research, and then it may be written down as the form of information prominent and the author prominent. If we are taking the author prominent one, we are starting with the author. Here, if it is an information prominent, we are not going to consider about the author. We first declare the information. We first declare the findings of the previous article. And then once we included all the details of regarding the previous article, we are including the author, who is the author with the published year. So therefore, it is called as the information prominent, right? So when it's come to the word, how you can cite? Yes, how you can cite? Have you used the word citations? Or else are you including it as a manual one? Yes. Are you just typing this in-text citation, or else are you already included the in-text citation with the reference tab? For your assignments,
With the
Uh,
reference tab.
Very good. If you have taken the reference tab, that is also that is good, right? So otherwise, some of the students, so they are taking the text citation as the as a hand typing also, right? Okay, we'll identify again how you can reference with the Word document, right? Here the reference tab, and the under the reference tab you can include the in-text citation. First you need to select the whether it is a Harvard or as APA. So then in-text citation, add new sources. In the add new sources, you can identify what kind of publication you are going to cite. Is it a book? Is it a journal article? Is it a conference proceeding? Is it a website? And likewise, according to the type of source, definitely your citation may be differ. So then the first, let's take a journal article, right? So journal article, you have to include the name of the author. We'll take it as a Nimesh Rajapaksha. Nimesh Rajapaksha. Right? So then title of the paper, and then journal name, Journal of Finance. Journal of Finance, published year 2022. How many? We don't know the pages. We'll take the for the moment where volume is 8 and the issue is 2. Okay. See here, it is identifying the in-text citation with the last name or else with the surname of the publisher. It is Rajapaksha, right? The first name is Nimesh and the last name is Rajapaksha. Therefore, they are identifying the in-text citation with the last name, then the year of publication. So this is how you can generate the in-text citation with the Word document, right? So then reference list, how you can include the reference list. I hope you already know it. With the bibliography, references, right? So it gives the detailed version of publication. Who is the publisher, who is the researcher, in which year they published it, and then in which, what is the research document or else what is the title of paper, and then what is the journal, what is the volume, right? So this is how you can identify the in-text citation and references according to the Harvard way. Okay, we'll try when we are using the APA, how it will be appear to the readers, right? Okay, we'll change it APA. See here. This is Harvard. Now we are going to cite with the APA. Okay, AP. This is the APA style, right? So can you identify any differences between the APA? Exactly, right? So what are the differences? See here. So no any huge differences. The slight differences are there, right? So for the APA, so they are taking the year within the brackets, and the Harvard, they are not using the brackets. Likewise, you can identify the some of the differences between APA and the Harvard referencing, right? The other way around, you may have the chance to cite, you include the in-text citation and bibliography or else references with the some referencing software also, right? If you want, you can search those things. In the Word document, you need to manually enter each and every item, right? But when it's come to the referencing softwares, You don't need to manually include these things here in text citation, and likewise you need to fill all of these things now in the Word document. But when it's come to the referencing softwares, right? Referencing softwares, you don't need to include any of these details. Just open the document, PDF document as per the referencing software, and then you can directly link the referencing software with the Word document. So then you just here when you can open the referencing software with the Word document, then it will be directly appear the referencing the oral bibliography as well as the in-text citation. So therefore it is very easy, mainly, right? A very good referencing software. Mainly it is very easy, user-friendly software. EndNote also one another thing. Actually, you don't need the Word document also. If you are referring the mainly or as EndNote, so you don't need to you don't need the PDF. If you are going to the Emerald Insight, so they have some EndNote or as RIS versions are there. So then if you download those versions and give the command to the mainly or as EndNote software, okay, open this kind of a document, definitely they will open the document without the PDF. So therefore, if you have the chance, I can't show it because this is my office laptop. So they are not allowing us to download the crack versions. Mainly, so we are in the CA, as per the CA rules, we need to download all the original softwares. Unfortunately, mainly we can't purchase those things. So therefore, I can't upload that kind of softwares to the office laptop. Other way around, so I will be able to show those things. Unfortunately, I can't. In my personal laptop, it says there. So unfortunately, I can't. So I will show the mainly icon. If you want, you can download very easy. I'm always recommending you to use that kind of software. That is okay. Mainly usage of mainly EndNote. So those are the academic writing also, not predated things. Okay, mainly software. Ne? Yes. So this is the icon, mainly software. This is the icon, right? This is the icon you can download. And YouTube, there are a lot of YouTube videos how you can link the mainly software with the Word document. So then very easily you can write down your literature review with the support of these softwares, right? So referencing softwares. Right. Okay. Again, back to the lesson. Okay, referencing. Another point, if you have the one author, it is okay how you can include the one author in the in-text citation, the last name of the author and the year. That is one author case. If there is a one author, right? How you can include Isuri 2020. So this is information oriented. If it is a author oriented, how you can include it? Isuri within the bracket 2022. If there are two authors, if there are two authors, how you can include? Yes, we'll take Isuri and the two authors, the last name of the two authors, Chandipa. That is mine. So then how you can include it? Isuri and Chandipa. And likewise. If there are three authors, how you can include? Yes. If there are three authors, two-author case. If there are three authors, you can use the yes, three authors. Again, Isuri and Chandipa Davatta. Isuri, Chandipa and Udavatta 2022. If there are four authors, you can include definitely the first author's last name, Isuri at all. So 2022. So whereas we are using the at all platform, if there are more than four authors, right? Four or more than four authors, we are referring the at all. Right. So this is the information prominent. So this is the information prominent Isuri at all if there are four authors, more than four authors. Okay. Right. Back to the lesson. Right. So when to cite? At which point we are going to cite? Yes. Did you know? Think of it. Right. If yes, no need to sign. But if it is no, is it common knowledge? If yes, no need to cite. But if it is specific to someone else, definitely you need to cite it. That means if you are referring the others' work, not the general work, general findings, definitely you need to you need to include the references for their findings. Right. So what kind of things in which scenarios you can do the referencing? When is referencing required? So we can identify how you can or what kind of scenarios you need to reference based on the three occasions. First one is if you are including the quotations, right? Quotations from the someone else. That means there are some definitions given by the some researchers regarding the corporate governance, or there is a definition. Let's assume in 1950 the corporate governance is identified as the practices, the regulations and rules which should be used to control for the companies done by the mark, right? The definition by the mark. So then you need to, when you are referring the definitions, you need to definitely include the citation. The other one, if you are copying, right? You can copy and paste some things. So what are those? Figures and tables, right? Figures, tables, and the report graph and etc. You can copy and paste. No need to change because you can't change. For example, if you are referring the government, no, inflation rate, right? So can you change it? No, you can't change it. If as per the central bank report, as per the central bank findings, if they are declaring the inflation rate, so you need to copy and paste it. You can't change it. So therefore, when you are referring the graphs, charts, figures, tables, no issue. You can directly copy and paste those things, but you need to cite it. Right? If it is a central bank report, comma, 2022. Okay. I don't. Okay, I hope you can see the screen. So this is a table, right? So regarding the fintech services, we have extracted some data from the EY fintech adaptation index. So how did we refer, how did you include the index citation? Once we include the table, so at the end of the table, we are including from where we have extracted this information. EY Fintech Adaptation Index in which year 2019. Likewise, you need to directly copy and paste what kind of things. If it is a table, if it is a figure, if it is a graph, no issue. You don't need to change those things. You can copy and paste, but the thing is you need to include the reference or else from where you have extracted this information should be mentioned in your research or else dissertation or else proposal. Right. The other thing, parapricing. What do you mean by parapricing? Yes. What do you mean by parapricing? When expressing the ideas of others in your own words, right? If you are expressing the others' work in your own words, definitely you need to include the in-text citation, right? Even you have extracted some information, others' findings, you have to cite it. Meanwhile, the last one is if you are summarizing, right? You read the entire article and you summarized it according to your own version, but according to your own words, and so then you need to cite it from the thing is, if you are taking the author prominent in-text citation, normally for the summarization of research, we are taking the author prominent in-text citation, right? Author prominent in-text citation. If we are doing the parapricing, right? So we read the entire article and we are in the entire article, we take the corporate governance practices and we explain the others findings, which will be included, which has been already included in the research done by someone else, and you converted those findings according to your own view, and then you include that one in your proposal, and lastly you need to include the information prominent in-text citation. That means for the parapricing, if we are taking the parapricing technique, we are including the in-text citation as normally the author prominent one. Sorry, the information prominent one. But if you are summarizing some information, if you are summarizing some researchers' entire article, you can take the summarizing technique, and then it should be included as the author prominent in-text citation. Right. In this one, right? Okay, we'll take from here. Various entities are currently involved in providing third-party assurance, including the consultants, accounting firm, and non-government organization. Right? So this is a one thing. Let's assume. So this is included in this research topic, and I have converted it according to my way. And then I included it like this. Right? So this is the parapricing. Let's assume I paraprice it. So then you can include the author of this article, author of this, the finding, who authored it. So these are the persons, or else these are the sum of research come up with the same conclusion. You can include it, right? So this is the parapricing and this is the information prominent citation. Information prominent in-text citation. Whereas summarization in the sense, you read the abstract of the article and you identify the purpose, identify the design and findings, right? So then you take the entire idea regarding the research, and then when you are writing the literature review, you started with, let's assume the author is Suri 2022. She conducted the research with the aim of to extend, or else with the aim to extend the existing knowledge, and likewise you summarize the entire idea of the research. You need to summarize it. So this is the entire idea. So she has conducted the research with the purpose, and then 4 different theories has been taken, and then so these are the sum of theories, and then how did she develop the hypothesis? So there will be several hypotheses and the sample also there, and then the findings are there, the results are there. What it is? A summary of finding. So you summarize this entire research article, and you have to you can include that kind of a summary in your literature review also. But what is the in-text citation method? It should be the both the prominent. If you are taking the summarization, normally the citation should be author prominent. But if you are going to extract some in detail, or else if you are going to extract some idea, or else some definition, some concepts from like this, you can use the author prominent in text citation. Both referencing or else both citation are definitely important to you, because why? So you have the you have in the literature review, you have theoretical literature review and the empirical literature review, right? When you are writing theoretical literature review, definitely information prominent citation is important. But yeah, if you are going to extract or else if you are going to summarize the findings by the others, whereas we are calling it as a empirical literature review, definitely for the empirical literature review also you need what? Author prominent citation. Author prominent citation. Why? We are going to summarize the others findings under the empirical literature review chapter, right? Okay. Okay, summarize the introduction chapter that you have downloaded the activity 1 for the 10 to 15 sentences. So then we'll have a break and come up with the practical, how we can write down the chapter number 2 dissertation. In the dissertation, meanwhile, how you can develop the proposal chapter number 2 literature review. All the theories relevant to the all the concepts models we already discussed with you regarding the literature review. It is definitely linked with the hypothesis. It is linked with the conceptual framework, and when you are doing literature review, definitely you need the paraphrasing, and then you need summarizing, you need quotations included, and then you need to include the copy and paste graph and other things. That means all of these things should be referenced. You included with the references, and then we'll identify how you can practically write down your chapter number 2 after the break. All right, we'll start. When we are writing the literature review chapter 2, so you have two sections. The first one is theoretical literature review. Theoretical literature review. If it is chapter 2, it is 2.1. Chapter 2, chapter 2.1. Another section, it is empirical literature review 2.2, that is empirical literature review. Empirical literature review. That means two sections. So normally under the theoretical literature review, we are writing 2.1, 1. The theories. Theories relevant to our studies. If it is a corporate governance research theory, you can write down about the agency theory. Agency theory. So what else? Stakeholder theory. 2.1.2. So that is regarding the definitions, right? So if it is regarding again same research topic, corporate governance, you have the two theories. You can use two theories, basic two theories, agency and the stakeholder theory. Anyway, what is the heading? You need to describe about the theories, right? Under the theoretical literature review. The other one is you can explain about the concepts, right? Definitions to the concepts. So what are the concepts? Basically, we have independent variables and dependent variables. You can include the dependent variables, independent variables, definitions. So how they have, who initiated that concepts? So that means who created that concept. So then how it has been evaluated during the years. If let's take an example, corporate governance, if it is identified by the respective researcher in 1995, so then how it has been evaluated during these 25 or as 30 years. So what is in concepts, identifying the concepts. So then you need to, under the 2.1.2, you can bring the definitions. Definitions for your variables, right? It is not the heading, right? So you can't take it as a heading, but what we are going to discuss under 2.1.2, the concepts or as variable. Under that one, you definitely can include the concepts regarding or else the definitions regarding independent variable. Independent variable and the dependent variable. Dependent variable. Dependent variable. So you can give the definitions regarding a dependent variable and independent variable under 2.1.2. So this is how you can write down your literature review chapter. Chapter number 2, It consisting two sections. First one is the theoretical literature review. The second one is empirical literature review. Theories in the sense, theoretical literature review covers the theories relevant for your studies and then regarding the definitions of your dependent, independent variables, right? So then empirical literature review, right? So what do you mean by the empirical literature review? So what are the similar findings to your research, right? Or else what are the similar research in the same research area? When you are writing the empirical literature review, you can write it down it as a similar findings in international context, right? International context. So then the other findings maybe can be identified as the Sri Lankan research findings, right? International and the Sri Lankan research findings. So then when you are writing, so empirical literature review, again, similar research in your research area. If it is corporate governance and financial performance research, you are going to conduct a corporate governance and financial performance research. So then empirical literature review in the sense, in the international context, who conducted this corporate governance and financial performance research previously rather than your research. So then when you are writing the international findings, international research, when you are summarizing it, here and after in the 2.2, you can take the summarization, right? Summary. International context, when you are writing the international research findings, so you can categorize the international finding as the three ways. Who gives the positive relationship, right? Or else who come up with the positive findings. Positive findings. So then you can write it as a negative findings. So literature review in the sense you are reviewing this one, right? So you are not going to show these are the findings. You review and show it to the reader. So these are the findings and these are the how they have did it. So these are the conclusion and likewise. Right. Negative findings, and then you can again summarize this. There are some research which are having a no impact, right? No any relationship. No relationship. So that kind of research confirm there is no relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance. Same format can be taken to the when you are summarizing the Sri Lankan research also, right? Sri Lankan, when you are summarizing the Sri Lankan research, you can identify what are the research findings which gives us the positive relationship, which gives us a negative relationship, and which gives us the no relationship. So this is a one way that you can write down your empirical literature review. Other way around, you don't need to include the international and the Sri Lankan subheadings. You just take the based on the international context or else whether it is a Sri Lankan context, which gives us the positive findings, which gives us the negative findings, and which gives us the no relationship between this independent and dependent variable. Yes, that is another way. It's like this. Same one, 2.2. So this is method number 1. Method number 1, 2.2, empirical literature review. International and Sri Lankan wise, you divide the empirical findings according to the international context and Sri Lankan context. Under the Sri Lankan context, you identify positive, negative, no relationship. Meanwhile, in the international context also, you identify the positive, negative, no relationship. So this is method number 1, how you can write down the literature, empirical literature review. Method number 2, right? Same one, right? Empirical literature review. No need to include it as an international or a Sri Lankan context. You just include it as a positive, negative way. No need to mention it as a positive, no need to mention it as a Sri Lankan or else international context. Just to identify the what gives the positive findings, what gives the negative findings, and the what gives the no relationship. When you are so this is the summary. So here in the empirical literature review, in the sense we are taking the summaries to write down these empirical literature review. You need to summarize. Let's assume here for the positive research, for positive findings. 5 research articles show the positive relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance, whereas 3 research shows that there is a no relationship between, or else there is a negative relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance, right? So there are, meanwhile, so there are 3 research which shows that okay, even it's a corporate, even the corporate governance is not impacting, not creating any impact for the financial performance. So then 3 research articles findings, so they are showing no, and the 3 research findings, so they are going to show us a negative relationship, whereas the positive findings relationship between these 2 variables, we have 5 articles. So you need to summarize the one article as a paragraph. Right, so then paragraph wise, how many paragraphs should be there? There, if you have referring 5 research articles, you may have some 5 paragraphs, right? For a one paragraph, what you are going to do? You are going to summarize the entire article, right? Likewise, once you write down these 5 articles summary, what you can do is next, you can include based on the positive findings. Here you can show out of the 6, that means 5. That means 11 research findings are there. Out of these 11 research findings, you can identify more than 5 articles, or else 5 articles shows the positive findings. Whereas it is finding, it is suppose us to generate a research hypothesis, whereas a positive relationship. So then you can develop the hypothesis with the positive, with the support of positive findings. It is H0, right? So there is a relationship. There is a relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance. Financial performance. Right. So this is what? So this is how you develop your hypothesis based on the which one? Based on the positive findings, or else based on the previous articles findings. Out of these 11 findings, 5 shows us the positive relationship. Accordingly, you may have the chance. You have the right to decide your research on you have the right to decide your hypothesis based on the positive way, or else based there is a positive relationship. Positive or else relationship between corporate governance and financial performance. Why we have developed this research hypothesis? Because we have the 5 findings, five findings which shows a positive relationship between these 2 variables. So therefore, no issue, you can develop the hypothesis in line with the positive relationship. So this is what I said previously. When you are referring the literature review, definitely it is supported to develop us the research hypothesis. So therefore, in the chapter number 2, you need to identify hypothesis. You need to develop the hypothesis based on the findings which you have included in the empirical literature review. Empirical literature review. Meanwhile, right? So when you are writing this literature review, right? So including all of the things, okay, summarization is not a review. It's a literature. You are including the literature. When you are writing this literature review, there should be a concept called as what it is. Yes, it should be contradictory, right? So when there are some findings, so there are some contradictory findings. So then what you need to do is you need to review it, compare and contrast, right? That is the concept you need to refer when you are doing the literature review, right? You need to always compare and contrast the findings when it's come to the here. right? In the theoretical literature review, you can compare and contrast. You can make the summaries and you can include the findings regarding this agency theory, and you can include the findings or definition regarding the stakeholder theory, and then you need to compare. The 1950 they have included this kind of concept in the agency theory, but in 2023 they are the concept has been developed up to this end. So this is the comparison. Meanwhile, what you can do is you have to compare and you have to identify the differences. Okay, this is in line with this, but there are some differences, right? Compare. You need to compare. Otherwise, it doesn't become a review. Otherwise, it's a literature, showing the literature to the readers. But the chapter number 2, it's not the showing the literature, it's a literature review. ඔයාලා එක ගවේෂණය කරනවා කියන එක තමයි මේක අදහස් කරන්නේ. එතකොට අපි එක අනිත් අයට කියවන අයට අපි ඒක දෙන්නේ කොහොමද? නිකම්ම මේක මෙහෙමයි කියලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Always you have to compare and contrast the findings. Meanwhile, here also, right? So when you are showing in the empirical literature, when you are showing the positive and negative findings, you can compare. This is compare, and then you need to contrast, right? How you can contrast? So there may be some negative findings, so because of the Sri Lankan context and because of the international context, and always you have to apply the compare and contrast concepts when you are doing the review. So any compare and the contrast when you are doing the review. Okay, so this is how you can develop at the end. Yes, with that.
It comes to empirical literature review, do we need to find, for example, do we need to find positive articles and then summarize them into whole page or something, paragraphs or something, and then include it to our empirical literature review, or is there any other method we can do?
No. The thing is, Pata, did you remember when I'm discussing about the last week, the Excel sheet? Did you remember that one? Excel sheet, right?
Yeah.
So when we are starting the literature, in the sense, we don't know what kind of this, even whether this paper is include the positive or whether this paper include negative findings. So then you Google type and you first select the corporate governance first article, and then you summarized it in the Excel format. Right. So once you read the corporate governance 5 or 7 articles, when you are coming to the Excel sheet analysis, you may be able to identify which article shows the positive and which article shows the negative findings. Right. Based on that review, you can write down the positive findings and then the negative findings. Right. So that means definitely you should have the positive and negative findings. Otherwise, not only the positive findings, you can't entirely include the negative findings. There should be positive findings and there should be negative findings also. Otherwise, it doesn't become a review. Is it clear?
Yes, madam.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාලා මේ ආටිකල්ස් කියවගෙන යනවා. ආටිකල්ස් කියවගෙන යනකොට ඔයාලා දන්නේ මේ ආටිකල් එකේ අවසානට හම්බ වෙලා තියෙන ෆයින්ඩින් එක පොසිටිව්ද නෙගටිව්ද කියලා. එතකොට අපි මොකද කරන්නේ? අපි Excel sheet එකෙන් රිවිව් කරගන්න. ඉස්සෙල්ලාම අපි ඔක්කොම කියවන්න යන්නෙත් නැහැ. අපිට අදාළද නැද්ද කියලා අපි බලන්න ඕනේ. අදාළයි වගේ තේරුණා නම් තමයි අපි Excel sheet එකට යන්නේ. Excel sheet එකට ගියාට පස්සේ ඔන්න අපි දාගෙන යනවා findings මෙන්න මේ විදිහට. ඔන්න 15ක් විතර කියවුවට පස්සේ 15ක් විතර go through කරාට පස්සේ ඔන්නට pattern එකක් පේනවා. සමහර ආටිකල්ස් වලට Excel sheet එකේ බලන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද? ෆිල්ටර් කරපුවම පේනවා positive relationship. ඔන්න ආටිකල්ස් 5ක් විතර තියෙනවා positive relationship කියලා. එහෙනම් මොකද ගන්න? හරි. ආටිකල් එකට ගියා abstract එක read කළා. ඊට පස්සේ මොකද කරන්නේ? introduction chapter එක බලුවා. ඊතුරු ආටිකල්ස් අර මම එදා වලට කියලා දුන්නා. introduction chapter, methodology chapter, no need to identify the discussion and other things. You can directly go to the conclusion and identify their findings. So then you summarized it. Right, so summarized it, and then as a one paragraph include the finding. Right, so if there are 5 research articles regarding the positive findings, definitely you may have 5 chapters. Right, if there are 10 positive findings, you may have the 10 paragraph. If there are negative 3 findings, you can include it as a paragraph. You can make a summary and then include. So the ISRI 2022, she has conducted the research with the aim of identifying the relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance. She has selected the purposive sampling, and her sample size is 297 companies the companies listed in Colombo stock market. And to run the data analysis techniques, she has taken the regression analysis and the correlation analysis. Accordingly, her findings are showing the positive relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance. So that is the other one, right? Again, it may be the Chandipa and Udavatta 2019. They have conducted the research with the aim of identifying is there an impact created by the corporate governance on firm financial performance. So they have selected the listed manufacturing companies in Sri Lanka. Their sample size is 30 companies, Sri Lankan 30 listed companies. So they have only tested the relationship. Accordingly, they have taken the correlation analysis for their studies, and they have identified the variables under the corporate governance at both diversity, audit, independent, and likewise. So then their research finding shows the negative relationship between corporate governance and the financial performance. So that is how you can summarize it. You need to summarize the entire article. The easiest method you can summarize the article is you can go through the abstract and have the idea. Clear? මේක ඔයාලා සමරි කරන්න ඕන රිසර්ච් ටික. ඒක තමයි අපි empirical literature review එක කියලා කියන්නේ. Okay. I will show one example to you regarding the empirical and the theoretical literature review. Right. For your level, you don't need to do this one, but to have an idea, this is a good one, right? Okay, this is chapter number 2. Just showing to you. This is chapter number 2, literature review, introduction. You need to give the introduction, chapter introduction. So then theoretical literature review, it is 2.2. So then if we are taking the fintech, right? So you need to identify the first, the evolution of fintech, the financial technology, and then how you can identify it. So then you can include the graph. So this is called as the meta-analysis, right? Meta-analysis in the sense, so you can summarize the literature based on some using the tables. So here the year is there. So then initiation is there, fintech is there, and the event is there. You just summarize how the fintech has been developed. So we are calling it as a meta-analysis. So then again, the financial technology services. What are the financial technology services? This is regarding the fintech research. So then table number 2, again, what you can do. So the year, definition, and author. Who initiated this financial technology? If it is a correct literature review, and if, for example, if you are taking the corporate governance, the person who first identified this corporate governance research should be stated in your research. මේක ආරම්භ කරපු කෙනා ඔය ආරම්භ ගෙනාපු කෙනා මේ concept එක ගෙනාපු කෙනා ඔයාගේ research එකේ ඉන්න ඕන literature review එකේ සහ අද වෙනකොට තියෙන updatedම research එකත් ඔයාගේ research literature review එකේ තියෙනවා. ඒක ඔයාලා හරියටම literature review කරනවා නම් පුතා ඒක තමයි process එක. ඉනි concept එක initiate කරපු කෙනාගේ ඉඳලා අද වෙනතුරු ඔයාලා latest topic එක වෙනකම්ම ඒ area එක ගැන analysis එකක් කරන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට තමයි ඔයාලට හරිම අවබෝධයක් එන්නේ මොකද්ද මේ කියන්න කියන එක. Here example, the definition regarding this is 2016, 2017, 2018 to the 2020. How the concept has been evaluated, differentiate or else growth during these years. So then this is regarding the theoretical literature review. You can describe the theories and the concepts. So this is up to the concepts, and then we'll come to the approximately 20 pages as I remember. Give the definition regarding the variables, and then we are starting with the theories, innovation diffusion theory, and then we are developing, or else we are giving the introduction to the theories. The other theory, resource-based theory, and then the natural-based resource theory. You have to give the introduction to them. right? So then here see, so it has been started with heart in 1995. So then from the initiation to the development, present development should be included TRIA research. So then the empirical literature review, here it is 2.3. In our example, it is 2.2, that is empirical literature review. The empirical literature review in this respective article has been identified according to the relationship between positive relationship between within the variables, positive negative relationship. So that is how you can develop the hypothesis. This is the empirical literature review. So what are the findings? Not bullet points. See here how we have written down say literature review with the numbers. So this is called as the academic writing, right? So this is me according to the Harvard et al. 2014. So this is the author prominent citation. So this is what? This is the information prominent in-text citation. So again, this is the information prominent in-text citation. So likewise, you can use the information as well as the author prominent citation when you are doing the literature review, right? So see here, all of these things have been written as the paragraph wise, right? So this is based on the findings, develop the hypothesis number 3, right? Again, we are discussing the relationship between fintech and the green operations. So then we identify the findings there and we develop the hypothesis. So this is how you can do the literature review. At the end of the chapter, what we have developed, we identify the concepts, fintech, environmental and the green operations, and we develop the conceptual framework at the end of the literature review. So this is how we can develop how we can do the literature review, right? Identifying concepts, and then you will be able to illustrate, or else you will be able to graph your findings according to the graphical manner where we are calling it as a conceptual framework, and then you should gain the idea regarding the independent and dependent variable very clearly. And then lastly, what we are going to do is we are going to develop the hypothesis, right, with the empirical literature review, right? Okay, any unclear points from the literature review? Or else if you need any further information or else further details, further explanation regarding this chapter, you can ask the questions now. Yes. All are clear. There may be there may be two options, all are clear or else nothing are clear. Okay. So regarding the portfolio activity number 2, 79 student has submit the portfolio activity number 2, no? Okay. Disanayaka. Okay. Any question from this section? Literature review? Yes. Okay, hope you don't have any question regarding this one. Portfolio activity number 3, it is writing the literature review for the selected one topic out of the 2 topics that you have developed the questions and problems in the portfolio activity number 2, right? Therefore, we have the activity also. If you have any question regarding this one, you can ask. Huh? Okay, meanwhile, I will review your portfolio activity number 2. Okay, I gave you the comments for the portfolio activity number 1. I hope there are 77 students who submitted their portfolio activities for the LMS, second LMS link. As I got to know today, so there are 99 students. Yes, 90 students. That means 13 students submitted after the review, after I completed the review process. Anyway, Puta, I'm not going to comment it again. I'm not going to comment it again, but I'm going to give the comment for the portfolio activity number 2. If I'm going to comment in the first activity and then I will come up with the second activity, it is a waste of time. Why? So for the second activity, you have done something with the adjustment of the portfolio activity number 1. No, so therefore I will evaluate your portfolio activity number 2. If there are something to be informed to you, I will definitely make it as a comment. Right. Okay. For the moment, we'll identify what are the issues with their submissions. Right. Okay. The first thing. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay. Are there any students? Okay, we got portfolio activity number 1 and identify the late submissions, right? First. Okay. Raise your hands if you are unable to gain the comments from the comments to the uploaded document in the portfolio activity number 1. Okay, students, you can raise your hands, right? So those who are unable to get the comment from the portfolio activity number 1, could you please raise your hands? There should be 6, 1, 2, 3, yes, 13 students, only 5 students. Only 6. Don't lower your hand. Raise your hands. Okay, 6 students. 7. Raise your hands if you are unable to gain the comment from the portfolio activity number 1. So that means late submissions. We have submitted the portfolio activity
Miss,
number 1 as
excuse me.
yes.
Miss, මම
Yes.
කලින් ඒක අප්ලෝඩ් කරානේ.
මොකද්ද?
activity number 1 එක.
ඔව්.
කමෙන්ට්
ඉතින්
මොකුත් ඒකට මිස් කමෙන්ට් එකක් මුකුත් දාලා තිබුණේ. ඒ කියන්නේ late submissions කියලා කිව්වේ මිස් මොකක්ද තේරුන්නේ?
late submissions කියලා කියන්නේ පුතා දැන් ඔයාලට මම දෙවනි link එකට මම ගිය සතියේ කලින් සතියේ කිව්වා පැහැදිලිව ඔයාලා පළවෙනි link එක මම comment දුන්නනේ ඔයාලට
ඔව්
ඔයාලා
මිස්.
upload කරලා තියෙන එකේ comments දුන්නා ඊට පස්සේ මම කියන්නේ හරි ඔයාලා මේ comments වලින් ඉගෙන ගත්ත දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් ඔක්කොම ඒකත් හදලා මෙන්න මේ කියන activity එකට submit කරන්න කියලා
ඔව් මිස්.
portfolio
ඒකට
activity
කරා.
number 1
කරා
හරි
මිස්.
එහෙනම් ඒකටත් මම comment දීලා නැද්ද
නෑ මිස්.
ඒක වෙන්න බෑ
පළවෙනි එකට දීලා තිබ්බෙත් නැහැ මට.
නෑ මේක කරේ නැහැ. portfolio activity number 1 research topics කියන එක පුතා මම ක්ලාස් එකේදී කළා.
ඔව්.
හරිද? ඒකෙදි සමහර අයට මම තිබුණ ටයිම් එකත් එක්ක මට සමහර අයට කමෙන්ට්ස් දෙන්න බැරි වුණා. හැබැයි මම ඔයාලට කිව්වා මොකද්ද? මම දීපු කමෙන්ට්ස් අනුව දැන් ඔයාලා මොනවා හරි දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න නැතිනේ.
ඔව්.
ඒවත් එක corrections කරලා මෙන්න මේ activity එක submit කරන්න කියලා.
ඔව්
submit the
මිස්. හරි.
portfolio act number 1 link
ඔව්.
2. හරිද? මෙන්න
ඔව් මිස්.
මේකටත් මම submit කළා ඔයාලට කමෙන්ට් දීලා නැද්ද?
නෑ මිස්.
කවද්ද? කියන්න බලන්න. ඔයාගේ ඉන්ඩෙක්ස් නම්බර් එක.
0.50.
නම කියන්න පුතේ.
දිනිඳු ගුණවර්ධන.
කවද්ද සබ්මිට් කරේ?
ඒක නම් මතක නෑ මිස්.
දිනිඳු ගුණවර්ධන.
තියෙන මිස්. යට
මේ
මට.
තියෙන්නේ
ආ
මම කමෙන්ට් දීලානේ තියෙන්නේ. ඔයා LMS එක බලන්න නැතුව ඇති.
නෑ මිස්. කමෙන්ට්
මේ
කමෙන්ට්ස්
තියෙන්නේ
කියන්නේ
පුතා.
හරි මිස්. හරි මම බලන්න.
මම කමෙන්ට්ස් දුන්නා මම ඔයාලගේ මගේ ලෙක්චර්ස් ඔක්කොම නවත්තලා එක දවසක් කරගෙන ඔයාලට කමෙන්ට්ස් දුන්නා බදාදා. මම බදාදා ඉවරනකොට කමෙන්ට්ස් ටික දීලා ඉවරයි. ඔයා බලන්න. හොඳද? Right. So anyway, there are 77 participants and 77 students submitted their portfolio activity number 1. Under the second link, I gave all the comments for the 77 students. So late submission, so I want unable to give the comments for them 13 students. Anyway, I will start today with them, the 13 students. If you have participated today, I'm going to evaluate your proposal or so evaluate your topics plus the questions and objectives. Otherwise, I'm not going to evaluate. Because why? If you are unable to participate for the lectures, I don't want to do something else, right? So therefore, there are some, I hope there are how many students? 6 students, no? 6 students, 7 students. Yeah, that is why I ask you to don't lower your hand, Putta, right? Raise your hands. I will start from you. ඉන්න පුළුවන්ුත් 13යි යා. දැන් 13ක් ඉන්නවා. 13 lectures ඇවිල්ලත් දැන් 9ක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ 5ක් 3යි 1යි 4ක් නැහැනේ. එඩෙත් නැහැනේ lectures නේද පුතේ? එහෙනම් ඉතින් evaluate කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැනේ. මම කොහොමවත් ඕනේ නැති හින්දා නේ නැත්තේ. හරි. Okay, we start with Musarraf. Portfolio activity number 2. Okay, 79 students. Okay, we'll first hide it. Musarraf.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, did you upload the document?
Yes,
Portfolio
ma'am.
activity number 2?
No, two no, I uploaded portfolio 1, ma'am.
Why? I asked you to upload the portfolio activity number 2 also.
I came and I'm already message.
Huh?
I don't receive any comment from.
That means you are a late submission, no?
Yes, ma'am.
After any submission, after the Wednesday, I didn't give the comment. I don't have the time, Puta. Wednesday, full day, I gave you the comments. From the 8:30 onwards, approximately it is 4 p.m. I evaluate the one by one topics. So that means there were 79 topics. After the Wednesday, I didn't give any comment to you. Otherwise, I don't have time. Full day lectures Friday. Yesterday also having the lectures, Puta. Thursday, after evening session lecture. So therefore, that means only Thursday morning. No, I don't have the lectures, but I have some other works. So therefore, after the Wednesday, I didn't give any comment. That means you didn't upload the portfolio act number 2 also, no?
Okay, ma'am, sure.
You didn't upload, no?
Yeah, I'm now upload portfolio 1, I think. Yeah.
Yes. So that means again you become the late submission. Right. Musarab. 17 exemption 13. What is your name? Samarakon. Samarakon, did you upload the document to the portfolio activity number 2?
Yes, madam.
Okay. Why you are late submission to the portfolio act number 1?
Uh,
So then, impact of topic number 2, intellectual capital on financial performance of Sri Lankan listed companies. Right. The topic factors, okay. We go to the directly identification of questions and objectives. Intellectual capital on financial performance of Sri Lankan listed banks. Right. Research questions. What is the impact of intellectual capital, human capital, structural capital on the financial performance of Sri Lankan listed banks? So then what is the relationship between intellectual capital and key financial performance indicators? The same thing, Putta, right?
okay.
So then how does the intellectual capital contribute to the profitability and overall financial performance? The same thing, right? Same thing, no? If you carefully read this one here, even the profitability, financial performance, all the things are same. Overall financial performance, so those are same, right? So therefore remove it. This one is okay. Does the impact of intellectual capital on the financial performance vary between the different type of bank? That is correct. So then you can take the, why did you include here human capital, structural capital? We didn't identify that under the research topic, no. Why?
In this research topic, there is a variable in I found the independent variable in human structural and customer capital. So that's the research problem in activity portfolio 1. I mentioned the what is the impact of the intellectual capital on financial performance of listed Sri Lanka listed bank and the other variables. So
my question is, Putta, right? Your research area or your research topic is regarding, this is topic now, the impact of intellectual capital on the financial performance of Sri Lankan listed bank. So that is your topic, no? So if it is topic, you are only mentioned regarding the intellectual capital. But when it's come to the questions, you include intellectual capital, human capital, structural capital, 3. Why? Why it is? But topic is regarding only the intellectual capital.
actually, madam,
This was extracted. No? Yes. You have taken support from the some research, no? It's okay, totally fine, na? It's totally fine, it's okay. So that is what we are doing the research. In sense, you need to refer the others' findings. ඔයාගේ කලින් research එකේ මේකේ topic එකේ මේ තුනම තිබ්බද?
නැහැ madam.
එතකොට ඒකේ ඒ හදලා තිබුණු research එකේ මේකද question එක පුතා?
මම සමහරක් ඒවා වෙනස් කරා.
එහෙම ඔයාට දැන් topic එකේ එකක් තිබිලා ඔයා මේක ඔයාට ඕන විදිහට වෙනස් කරාද? එහෙමද? වෙනස් කරනකොට පුතා අන්න ඒක තමයි වැඩේ. ඔයා අවබෝධයකින් වෙනස් කරන්න ඕනේ. හරිද? මෙතන බලන්නකො topic එකේ ඔයා කතා කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? intellectual capital කියලා විතරයි. හැබැයි ඔයා research topic එකට ආවම intellectual capital plus human plus the structural capital කියලා තුනම කතා කරනවා. තේරුණාද? එහෙනම් මෙයා මේකේ research topic එකේ ගේන්න ඕනේ මොකක්ද? The impact of intellectual capital, human capital, structural capital, right? On research on the financial performance of Sri Lankan listed bank. So then accordingly you can develop the 3 research questions. What those are? What is the impact of intellectual capital?
On financial performance and
Very
capital
good.
humans on
No, 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 no.
financial performance.
No, Putte, no, right? So intellectual, the first question may be the impact of the intellectual capital on financial performance, right? The second one is the impact of human capital on financial performance. On financial performance of listed companies in Sri Lanka. Third one is, what is the third question?
Structural capital on financial performance
What
of
is the
listed
impact
bank.
of exactly structural capital on financial performance in listed banks in Sri Lanka, and then you can remove the other ones, and then you can include that does the impact of intellectual capital on the financial performance vary between the different type of banks. The other way around you can take. So here what you are going to take, the first 3 question is regarding is there any relationship between or is there any impact created by intellectual capital, human capital on the performance of the banks. Meanwhile, the last question is regarding according to the different types of banks, is the relationship may be going to be change or else no. So therefore here you can include does the impact of intellectual capital, or else you can include the other way around the T question as well, right? Intellectual capital on the financial performance may be vary on different type of banks, or else the according to the human capital it is going to be changed, or else according to the structural capital is it going to be changed, or else you can include with the 3 also. But anyway, when it's regarding the first 3 question, it should be a straightforward 3 questions. Other way around, you can yes. If we are going to identify any differences between these different banks, so it's become little bit hard one. If you want, you can remove that one as well for the undergraduate level, or else you can mention it as 1 question. No need to go with the 3 question for your level, right?
Okay.
Okay, right. So then regarding this research topic 2, accounting practitioners' perspective on the small and medium enterprises, environmental sustainable reporting. So what is your dependent variable?
Dependent variable accounting student environmental sustainability reporting by SMEs. Independent variable accounting practitioners awareness of environmental sustainability, stakeholder pressure, cost of implementing environmental reporting.
ඌ ඉතින් ඒක කියලා නෑ research topic එකේ එහෙම එකක්වත් නෑ.
No, madam. First activity portfolio is there is including.
So then why did you remove that one from the second activity?
No, madam. I already including.
Research topic. So you have identified the research area, no? Not the research topic. Okay. No. This is research topic 3. Accounting practitioners' perspective on the small and medium-sized enterprises' environmental sustainability. I mean, Puta, so if I ask you to include the dependent and independent variable to the research topic. So what is the dependent variable? What is the independent variable here? According to your perception, accounting practitioners' awareness of the environmental accounting, and then cost of implementing environmental reporting and stakeholder pressure. So these are the 3 things. Awareness and the awareness of environmental sustainability, and then cost of implementing environmental reporting, stakeholder pressure, how those things will be impacted to the environmental sustainable reporting. Are you sure is this a quantitative research?
Yes, madam.
Yes. The second activity onwards, I'm going to check all of these things. Huh? Even I have to spend on 2 days.
Excuse me, miss.
Yes.
මිස් අර රිසර්ච් ටොපික්ස් දානකොට ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ට් වේරියබල් එකයි ඉන්ඩිපෙන්ඩන්ට් වේරියබල් එකයි දෙකමත් ඒ දෙකක් දාන්න ඕනේද?
ඒ කියන්නේ පුතා ඔයා කියන්නේ නිකන්
ඒ
නේම්
දෙක වෙන
කරන්න
වෙනම
ඕනේ කියන්නේ.
දාන්න ඕනේද? ඒ දෙක වෙන වෙනම දාන්න ඕනේද?
ඔයා කියන්නේ question එකටද එහෙම නැත්නම් include නිකන් පෙන්ලා
නෑ ඒ
තියන්න ඕනේ.
ඇක්ටිවිටි එකට
නෑ නෑ එහෙම ඕනේ නෑ. topic එක include
ටොපික්
කරන්න.
එක විතරයිනේ මිස්. ඒකේ මගේ
ඔව්.
අර පොඩි අඩුවක් වෙලා තියෙනවා මිස්. ඒක අර මිස් දාපු කමෙන්ට් එක. ඒක
හ්ම්.
මම දැනුයි දැක්කේ මිස් මේ ඒක නිසා ඒක දැන් ආපහු හදලි වෙලා
නෑ
ඇක්ටිවිටි
නෑ
නම්බර්
එහෙම
3
ඕනේ
එකේ මම අප්ලෝඩ්
එහෙම
කරන්න.
ඕනේ නෑ. හ්ම්.
ඒක මිස්
නෑ නෑ හරි හරි. ඔයා activity number 3 එකේදී ආයෙ correction එක කරලා upload
කරෙක්ට්.
කරන්න.
හරි මිස්. හරි. ඕකේ.
යාගේ පුතා මේක. නෑනේ පුතා මේක මේ මොකද්ද? මේක quantitative research එකක් නෙමෙයි. මේ බලන්නකෝ පුතේ. Abstract, purpose, design. So what is the purpose? Investigate the feasibility, benefit and challenges of the environmental sustainable reporting by the SMEs. So meanwhile, so the author collected the views of 203 accounting practitioners. So what that means? It's a qualitative research. Anyway, the area is very good, right? I'm really interested in that area. The accounting practitioners' perspective on the small and medium enterprises. Meanwhile, you are considering about the sustainable reporting, very good research area, but these are taught, so you have to develop it. Huh?
Okay, madam.
Okay, this is wrong. Wrong in the sense, not entirely wrong. So you have to change it. Okay, Puta?
Okay, madam.
This is one, no? Ko Madhurika. Madhurika ne mene.
Samarakuni.
Samaraku. See here, when you are developing the question also, totally those are qualitative type questions, right? So other way around, when we are, all of you. So when you are developing the questions, you can take the, if it is a quantitative, you all are referring the quantitative research. So therefore you can take the does, right? You can start the question with does, how, what, and likewise, is likewise, but don't never use why. WH format why. The how can be taken for the both quantitative as well as the qualitative research. Right, okay. We'll go to the next one. Who is next? BSc 2022-16A. Part 44. What is your name? 44 MOH 16A MOH weekend 44. Yes, 44. 16A MOH 44. Absent. MOH weekend 44. 16 emoji 44. We'll make it a mass absent, huh? Otherwise, waste of time. Edirisingha. Kavi Edirisingha 6. Next person. Shabit Ahmed. Shabit Ahmed. Yes, Ahmed. Ahmed.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Did you upload that portfolio activity number 2?
මං දෙවෙනි එක අප්ලෝඩ් කරේ නෑ මිස්. මොකද්ද අර පළවෙනි එකට කමෙන්ට් එක ආපු නිති හින්දා. හැබැයි හදලා තියෙන්නේ මං දැන් අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න.
දැන් මම අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න කියලා එදා කිව්වනේ.
නෑ ඊයේ මං ඒ වෙලාව කතා කරේ මිස්. ඔයාලට
මම කිව්වනේ අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න කියලා දෙවෙනි
ඔව් මං
එකත්
ඊයේ හදන්න වෙලාව නෑ ඊයේ රෑෙන්ද පොඩ්ඩක් පරක් වෙන හින්දා මං අද උදේින් තමයි හදුවේ.
හරි
ඒකයි.
හා
දැන් අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්නද?
අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න. අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න.
හරි.
Okay. 16 emoji 64. අතපත්තු. 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 Yes, අතපත්තු. It's active. I don't know whether it is active or else no. Anyway, all of the අතපත්තු.
Hello?
Yes, Buddha.
Yes.
Did you upload document portfolio act number 2?
Yeah.
අතපත්තු. Okay.
First time you have gave me to comment, but I couldn't upload the under link to yesterday or day before yesterday. I have uploaded it.
Okay, good. Anyway, we'll go to the question. What is the research topic with our first one? The impact of robotic process automation on the internal controls in licensed commercial banks. Are there any robotic practices automations in Sri Lanka?
Not, I think.
If it is not, how you can do the research? Good research area, internal controls and the automations or else robotic practices. Good. So my question is, are there any empirical practices in Sri Lankan context? Yes.
I don't know. I think no.
If you don't know, why did you include that kind of things? දැන් මන් දන්නේ නැහැ කියන්න බෑනේ පුතා. Automation processes improvement. Yes, yes.
Hypothetical වගේ ඒතකොට මම දැන් check print
එතකොට
කරන
දැන් එතකොට දැන් research එක කරන්නේත් hypothetical. නෑනේ අපිට data වලනේ collect කරන්න නේද? You have to check the researchability of your research topic. Anyway, the area is good, Puta. You have to check whether the area is practical or else no. Okay, anyway, we'll go to the questions, right? In what ways does RPA contribute to magnifications of the risk and errors in the internal process in the commercial bank? How does the implementation robotic processes automation impact to the effectiveness of the internal controls? යන යන්තම් හරි වගේ ටිකක්. Third one. Okay. The second one, no? In what ways does RPA contribute to mitigation of risk and errors in the internal processes in commercial banks? Contribute to mitigation of risk and errors. And the second one, impact to the effectiveness of the internal control. So what is your dependent variable? Yes. What is your dependent variable?
in first topic.
Yes. First topic.
Dependent effectiveness of internal controls.
Effectiveness is not included in your research topic, no. If it is effectiveness of the internal controls in license commercial bank, entirely the question number 2 is correct, Pute. Right? How does the implementation of robotic processes automation RPA impact to the effectiveness of the internal controls in license commercial banks? So that is correct. If you are referring the effectiveness. So I mean the mitigation of risk and errors in internal processes. From where did you identify the mitigation of risk and errors? Is that same to
Because
the
this is
effect?
my dependent variable is effectiveness of internal controls during the audits. Last
So
time
then,
I wrote the research topic as when doing the audit, you said to remove that.
sorry,
When doing the
again.
audit, I have included the impact of robotic process automation on internal controls in license bank during the audit. Last time you said to remove
During
that
the
during
audit.
the.
So then, it's very easy to put if you can deal with the effectiveness of the internal control system and mitigation of risk and error. So my suggestion is remove that part. Right? So this question is enough, but the thing is you can expand this question how you can identify. So there are some various robotic process automations. So there may be some practices, no, not only one practices. If you are regarding if you remove the robotic and so then if you may be able to identify the automation or as automation practices, right? Artificial intelligence practices. So then you can identify the several practices there. AI usage, big data usage, and like as an example, right? So then you identify what are the practices in this RPA, and then according to the practices wise, you create the questions. It's like this, right? For example, how does implementation of AI, this is a suggestion, right? AI impact the effectiveness of internal controls, right? So the second one, again, you can identify the another RPA practices, right? How does the implementation of big data? These are example because I don't have any idea regarding the robotic process automation. So big data, right? Practices impact the effectiveness of internal controls in commercial bank Sri Lanka. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Other way, if you want to include the mitigation of risk and errors, so it can be included as another dependent variable. In that context, you may have the how many independent variables? How many dependent variables? 2 independent variables. The model become a little bit hard or a little bit tough one. So anyway, it's a good one also. That's also can be done from your end if you are comfortable with the 2 dependent variables. That is your decision, right? So you can take the first suggestion is first advice is you need to identify the robotic practices, and according to the robotic practices you can link with the effectiveness of internal control systems in licensed commercial banks and develop the question. So that is the first suggestion. The second suggestion is if you want to include the mitigation of risk and errors in the internal processes, so then again you can include it as another dependent variable and develop the 2 research question on that one also. Clear? ඔයාට තේරුණාද පුතා? ඔයාට ඕන mitigation of risk කියන එකත් ගන්න. ඔයා ඉස්සෙල්ලම කරන්න ඕන දේ තමයි පළවෙනිම කරන්න ඕන දේ තමයි ලංකාවේ practice වෙනවා නම් මේ automation processes practices ඒවා අඳුන ගන්න. at least 3ක්වත් ගන්න. ඒ 3 අරගෙන link කරන්න ඔයාගේ dependent variable එකත් එක්ක effectiveness of the internal control system research topic එකේ මෙතෙන්ට ගන්න effectiveness of the internal controls. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයා කැමති නම් mitigation of risk errors in the internal process කියන එකත් ගේන්න. ඔයා ආයෙත් ඒ robotic practices තුනත් එක්ක link කරන්න mitigation of risk and errors in the internal processes, and again you can develop the 3 question on those dependent variable also. That means total if you include the mitigation of risk there should be a 6 questions. Clear?
Clear.
Right. Research topic 2, effect of the financial accounting experiences in the financial accounting experiences in management accounting. පුතේ මොකද්ද මේ? Effect of the financial accounting experiences in management accounting in service sector.
ඔතනත් තිබ්බ මිස් decision making කියලා.
කො නෑනේ මම අයින් කරන්න කිව්වත් දැන් ඒක.
ඔව්.
කොහෙද?
when making the decisions කියලා තිබ්බ මිස් කිව්වා ඒකත් අයින් කරන්න කියලා.
මෙහෙමයි වෙන් කියන කෑල්ල අයින් කරන්න කිව්වම මම decision making කියන එක අයින් කරන්න කියන්නේ නැතුව ඇති. දැන් මට කියන්නකෝ මේ මොකක්ද බලන්න යන්නේ කියලා පුතේ. මට ඒක
තියෙන
තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ.
financial account තියෙන කෙනෙක් management accounting side එකට ගිහිල්ලා එතන decision කරනකොට අතන තිබ්බ experience එක කොහොමද effective වෙන්නේ?
Financial accounting experience. එතකොට what is a dependent variable?
Dependent variable is dependent is quality of decision making in management accounting.
කෝ නෑනේ. එහෙම එකක් අපි කතා කළාම නෑනේ. කො quality of ඔයාලගේ හිතේ
Quality of
තියෙනවා නේද? හිතේ තිබුණානේ ඉතින් මම දන්නේ නෑනේ quality of
decision making in management accounting.
decision making. Quality of decision making in management accounting. What is an independent variable then? Yes, what is the independent variable? Yes. මොකද්ද පුතා independent variable එක?
Financial accounting experience.
Financial accounting experience, the effect of the financial accounting experiences in quality of decision making in the management accounting. දැන් නම් ටිකක් හරි වගේ. දැන් තේරෙනවා. Financial accounting knowledge එක එහෙම නැත්නම් experiences කියන දේ වැදගත් වෙනවද? accounting management accounting decisions වලට. කාගෙන්ද data collect කරන්නේ පුතා? හිතාගෙන ඉන්නේ කාගෙන්ද? අපි වෙනස් කරමු.
මේක service sector private schools ගන්න ඇදුවේ. මම
එහෙනම්
මේ
දැන්
සාරත් මේ service sector එකේ අඩුයි කිව්වා but පුළුවන් කිව්වා.
මොකද්ද?
management accounting practices service sector එකේ අඩුයි කිව්වා but research එක කරන්න පුළුවන් කිව්වා.
with special reference to the service sector private schools. Okay, you change like this, huh? The effect of financial accounting experiences in quality of decision making in management accounting with special reference to the service sector private schools or the service sector likewise. Anyway, we'll change this part once we come to the sample change or a sample selection. For the moment, this is okay. So good interested, anyway, good area, right? Interested research area, in the management accounting. Very good. So we'll identify the questions. How do financial practices influence the adaptation and implementation of management accounting techniques? Correct. Right? The second one, how do the management accounting practices influence the financial accounting knowledge affect the මේක පුතේ අනිත් පැත්තට කියන්නේ. මෙයා හරි. එතන කියන්නේ how do the financial accounting practices influence the adaptation and implementation of accounting techniques in the private school. This is correct. මෙයා අනිත් පැත්තට නෙවෙයි එතකොට කියන්නේ ආයෙ බලනවානේ. එතකොට conceptual framework එකක් අඳින්න බෑ පුතා අපිට. How do the management accounting practices in management accounting? How do the management accounting sorry. How do the management accounting practices influenced by accounting knowledge affect the financial sustainability? affect the financial sustainability of the private. Could you please explain the second question? මොකක්ද බලන්න යන්නේ කියලා කියන්න පුතා මට.
can management accounting practice කරනකොට financial accounting knowledge කොට financial sustainability කියන්නේ අපේ finance පැත්තට කොහොමද influence වෙන්නේ කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි fee එකක් තීරණය කරනකොට management එකත් එක්ක අපි අර පැත්ත knowledge එක කෙනෙක් නම් ඊට පස්සේ අපි fee එක හරියට decide කරනවානේ. එතකොට ඒක කොහොමද financially revenue එකට එහෙම අර
affect the financial stability. එතකොට ඔයා ආපහු මේ පැත්ත ආයෙ බලන්නේ management accounting practices කොහොමද financial stability එකට sustainability එකට contribute කරන්න කියන එකද?
ඔව් අර knowledge එක තියෙනකොට financial
management
accounting
accounting practices. එතකොට දැන් ඔයාලට මතකද මම conceptual framework එකක් අඳින විදිය මම දන්නේ ඔයාලා lecture හිටියද කියලා පුතේ. දැන් මේ conceptual framework එක ඇඳහම චුට්ටක් හිතන්න ඔයාගේ dependent independent variable එක management මොකද්ද? Independent variable එක financial accounting practices, right? Financial accounting practices. එයානේ ඔයාගේ independent variable එක. එතකොට එයා බලපානවා කියලා කියන්නේ අපි කාටද? implement management accounting ඔයා කියන්නේ quality of decision making quality of decision making quality එකට. දැන් මෙයා හරි මට මේක clear. අග පළවෙනි question එක කියලා කියන්නේ financial accounting practices quality එකට බලපානවාද? එතන quality එක ඔයා බලනවා විදි දෙකකට quality එක නම් adaptation සහ implementation කියන එකෙන් බලන්න බෑ. adapt කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ වෙන දෙයක්, implement කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ තව දෙයක්. එතකොට පුතා quality එක මේ දෙකෙම measure වෙන්නේ නැහැ. හරිද? එතකොට ඔයා මෙතනට හරියටම identify කරගන්න ඕනේ how do the financial accounting practices influence the quality of decision making. හරිද? එතකොට දැන් මට දෙවෙනි question එක කියන්නකෝ. දෙවෙනි question එකෙන් කියන්නේ මට තේරෙන්නේ management accounting practices ආය financial accounting practices එහෙම නැත්නම් financial sustainability වලට බලපානවද කියන එක නේද ඔයා මේ බලන්නේ. ඒතර ආයේ මේ පැත්තෙන් නම් ඊතලේ අපිට මෙහෙට ගන්න වෙනවා. එහෙම කරන්න බෑ අපිට. එහෙම කරන්න සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි එහෙම කරන්නේ. එතකොට conceptual framework එකේ මෙහි ඉඳන් මෙහෙටත් වෙනවා, මෙහි ඉඳන් මෙහෙටත් වෙනවා. එතකොට එක වෙලාවකදී පුතා පළවෙනි question එකේදී independent variable එක කවුද? Financial reporting financial accounting practices dependent variable එක කවුද? Management decision making කියන එක. Quality of decision making කියන එක. හැබැයි දෙවෙනි question එකේදී මොකද වෙලා තියෙන්නේ? දෙවෙනි question එකේදී management accounting කියන එක independent quality of decision making කියන එක independent වෙලා dependent වෙලා තියෙනවා කවුද? Financial accounting practices කියන එක. ඒක හරිද? මං කියන දේ හරිද? මට තේරෙන විදිහට.
මට
එහෙම නේද මේ කියන්නේ දෙවෙනි question එකේ මට තේරෙන විදිහට එහෙම පුතේ. දෙවෙනි question එකේදී කියන්නේ how do the financial management practices influenced by the financial accounting knowledge. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙයාගේ මත depend උණු management accounting knowledge එක ආයි ගහනවා influence කරනවා මොකටද? financial sustainability. financial sustainability කියලා කියන්නේ එහෙනම් තවත් දෙයක්. එහෙනම් මෙයා act කරනවා mediator එකක් විදියට. එහෙම ප්‍රශ්නයක් වෙනවා. financial sustainability කියලා තවත් එකක් වෙනව නේද?
එතකොට මේ සේවාවයකට question එකක් create කරද්දී වගේ පැටලෙනවා.
මොකක් හරි රිසර්ච් එකකින් බලලාද මේක ගත්තේ?
නෑ.
ඔයා හිතලා ගත්තේ?
ඔය අර management accounting practices ඒ වගේ ඒවා තිබ්බ මේකටම සමාන වේම තිබ්බනේ.
ඔයාලට පුළුවන් නම් මේකට බේස් පේපර් එකක් හොයාගන්න ඒක හොඳම දෙයක්. මේ ඒරියා එකෙන් මට හිතෙන විදිහට මෙහෙමයි කියන්නේ. කෙනෙකුට financial accounting practices ගැන තියෙන knowledge එක අනිවාර්යෙන් quality එක enhance කරන්න management accounting decision making වලට බලපානවා. ඒ ගන්න management accounting decisions අනිවාර්යෙන් ඔයාලගේ sustainability එකට financial sustainability එක. එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි මේක කෙලින්ම කතා කරොත් financial performance profit එකට බලපානවද කියන එකයි මේ බලන්න යන්නේ. එහෙම නේද?
ඔව්.
එහෙනම් මෙයා mediator එකක් වෙනවා. මට තේරෙන විදිහට මම මේ කියන්නේ මම ඔයාගේ අයිඩියා එකත් එක්ක කියන්නේ මට ෆුල් ස්ටඩි එක බලන්න නැතුව කියන්න බෑ. ඔයාලගේ ප්‍රොපෝසල් ස්ටේජ් එකට ආපම තමයි මට ඒක කියන්න පුළුවන්. ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් accounting practices වලට ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් සස්ටේනබිලිටි වැදගත් වෙන ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් accounting practices අනුව සස්ටේනබිලිටි එකට බලපානවද? මෙන්න මෙයා ඇවිල්ලා මෙයා කවුද? quality of decision making කාගෙන්ද ක්‍රියේට් කරන්න ඉම්පැක්ට් එක ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් accounting practices වල තියෙන එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එක බලපානවද මැනේජ්මන්ට් accountant ලට එයාලගේ decision making කරන්න ඒ හරහා financial stability වැඩි වෙනවද කියන එකයි මම හිතනවා බලන්න යන්නේ පුතා. Definitely පුතා you find a research article if you are interested in this area, good area, right? Good area. So this is regarding with the mediation. According to my knowledge, if it is the mediation, quality of decision making, it act as a mediation. So for the moment, we'll develop. Anyway, the first question is correct, Pata, right? So if you have the another, if you have the intention to continue this one, find a base paper, find an article similar to this study, and so then we'll develop the question number 2, right? Otherwise, for the moment, this is wrong, Putta, right? So this is wrong. If you want, you can develop it as like this: the financial accounting practices impact of the financial sustainability, and then is there any mediated impact by the quality of decision making to the account in between the financial accounting practices and the financial sustainability, right?
Okay.
I will give a comment. Will do you remember the comment? Definitely I will give you the comment.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Hello, miss.
Evaluation of yes.
Hello, miss.
Atapattu. Yes.
Miss, I am Nimesh.
Yes, Nimesh. Where
Miss,
were you?
මේ මයික වැඩ කරේ නැවිලා
ඔයාගේ නම මොකද්ද පුතේ?
44 ග්ලිසර් දාලා මිස් වීකෙන්ඩ් එක.
හරි හරි. හරි හරි. මම කමෙන්ට්ස් ටික දෙන්න. ඔයා අප්ලෝඩ් කරා නේද?
ඔව් මිස්.
හරි හරි. නැත්තම් ඔයාලා මට්ටු කරන්න බෑනේ. Okay.
මිස් ඇබ්සන්ට්
Anyway.
කියලා දැන් මට නේද?
මට ඇබ්සන්ට් කියලා දැම්ම. ඉතින් කතා කරේ නෑනේ පුතේ. ඉන්න ඇබ්සන්ට් කියලා දැම්ම. කෝ. Number එක කියන්නේ පුතා 44.
ඔව් මිස්.
Anyway, if you have uploaded document, comment. Absent. Right. එදිරිසිංහ no?
මම විජේසිංහ එදිරිසිංහ කියලා එක්කෙනාට තමයි දැම්මේ වීකෙන්ඩ් 44.
ඒ ළමයා නෑනේ. එහෙනම් අපි කමෙන්ට් එක එහෙම තියමු. කවි එදිරිසිංහ. Anyway, no worries. How many submissions were there? There are 79 submissions. So I will leave it. Okay, Putra, it's okay. I'm not going to mark it.
excuse me ma'am.
Yes, Putra.
මේ අර මම MS සහමඩ් අර දැන් අප්ලෝඩ් කරා මිස් අරක.
Hi. So anyway, so there are 79 participants or 79 submission for the portfolio activity number 2, right? I'm going to hide it. So then I will evaluate this I will evaluate the portfolio activity number 2, your questions and objectives, and I will definitely give the comments by Wednesday. Definitely for the Wednesday. Yes, Puta.
මිස් මම අර මිස් දාලා තිබ්බ ෆස්ට් ලින්ක් එකට මුලින්ම ඩොකියුමන්ට් එක අප්ලෝඩ් කරා. පස්සේ LMS එකට ගිහින් බලද්දී ඒ ලින්ක් එක අයින් කරලා මිස් සෙකන්ඩ් ලින්ක් එකක් දාලා තිබ්බනේ. මම ටොපික්ස් චේන්ජ් කරන්න නැති නිසා මං ඒ ලින්ක් එකට අප්ලෝඩ් කරේ නැහැ.
කමක් නෑ. ඔයා සෙකන්ඩ් එකේ portfolio act number 2 එකට සබ්මිට් කරානේ.
ඔව් ඒක සබ්මිට් කරා.
එහෙනම් හරි. දැන් ඔයාලා portfolio activity number 2 එකට සබ්මිට් කරලා තියෙනවා නම් මොනවා හරි document එකක් මම දැන් මේ සතිය බදා දෙනකොට එයා evaluate කරනවා. ඒ document එක evaluate කරලා individual comments දෙනවා. ඒ ගැන බය වෙන්න දෙයක් නෑ. හැබැයි ඔයාලා portfolio activity number 2 එකක් සබ්මිට් කරලා නැත්නම් I can't do anything.
ඒක සබ්මිට් කරා මිස්.
එහෙනම් හරි.
Okay, thank you miss.
Okay. Any questions? Individually evaluate your questions and objectives. Not. Okay. Any questions? Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Mushara, I'm now developing the questions from my relevant topic.
Hmm.
I will upload within the 1 hour, ma'am. The portfolio too.
Okay. Okay, Buddha. It's
Okay,
all right.
thanks. Okay, thank you.
So since there are some of students who didn't upload the portfolio activity number 2, so I will show it again anyway. Midnight Tuesday. Right, this Tuesday I'm going to evaluate this portfolio activity number 2 on Wednesday, right? So that is so I don't have the lectures on Wednesday, so therefore I'm evaluating those things on Wednesday, right? So what you all can do is you upload if there are any corrections. If you have gained some idea regarding how to develop the research topics and other things, so if there are any amendments, you can upload the portfolio activity number 2 again. Here, I will make it as a due date. Okay, due date Wednesday it Tuesday, right? Tuesday, due date Tuesday 10th midnight. So if you have any changes regarding the activity number 2, portfolio activity number 2, you do the amendment and upload it before Tuesday midnight. මොනවා හරි ඇඩ්ජස්ට්මන්ට්ස් තියෙනවා නම් මොන හරි කරෙක්ෂන්ස් තියෙනවා නම් ආයෙත් අප්ලෝඩ් කරන්න. මම ඩිව් ඩේට් එක හදලා තියෙන්නේ ටියුස්ඩේ මිඩ්නයිට් වෙනකොට. හැබැයි වෙන්ස්ඩේ වලින් ටියුස්ඩේ වලින් පස්සේ මම මේක අයින් කරනවා පුතා. අයින් කරාට පස්සේ මම ආයෙ ඉවලුවේට් කරන්නේ නැහැ. මට වෙන්ස්ඩේ විතරක් තියෙන නිසා මම වෙන්ස්ඩේ කොහොම හරි ඉවලුවේට් කරනවා. Okay. Any questions?
Madam,
Yes, any questions?
madam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Madam, can you ask from sir to upload today recording by tomorrow, day after tomorrow?
Okay. I will inform them.
Okay, madam. Okay.
Yes. Any questions? If you have any questions, you can contact me, no issues. Anyway, the advice is if you have any amendments to the portfolio activity number 2, so then you upload the document before 10th midnight, right? So I will evaluate it Wednesday and provide you the comments. If you didn't upload the document and thereafter don't ask me to evaluate, so I'm not going to evaluate, right? So this I already given you the 2 weeks, so therefore do it on Wednesday, do it on Tuesday. Okay, hope you don't have any questions on the lesson. So then we'll wind up for today. Thank you very much for your participation. Have a great evening.